Hello, my name is Rita Nye and I'm a Senior Consultant for ADG. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how we can use the Table Designer inside R4i Writer for building and developing standardized tables which can then be used inside your documentation. So the first thing we want to do is we want to build our table. So if we go into our Table Designer, we can undock this if we want. And this is our Table Designer window. It looks very similar to our authoring environment, but what we're going to do with this is we're going to develop the actual default table format. So for example, if we wanted to create a table that was 5 columns and a minimum of 3 rows, we can then insert that. If we want to have 1 row as a header, we can indicate that we want a row for a header. We can even predefine the information that goes into that header. So we can then indicate our heading information. We can even define if we're wanting to have some of this information pre-formatted. So if we're wanting to have all of this information to be centered, we can then select Apply Center. And if we're wanting all of these cells to also be centered, we can also put in that they're going to be centered. We can also indicate any of our other standard formats that are required for these tables. So if there are other presentation requirements that we need, such as do we want to have it as a landscape instead of a portrait, all of that information can be predefined. Once we've got all of our configuration completed, we then click on our Save. And the first thing we need to do is we now need to give it a name. And the name needs to be something that's logical for the project, so that when people go to insert this table, they're going to know what it means. So for this, we could say that it's a 5-column with reference, as an example. And now that table has now been created. From an author's perspective, what they need to do is they come into their document, they come down to where they're wanting to insert the table, and they've got a couple of different ways of doing this. They can go in and insert the table from the tag list, but what we want to do is we want to grab the information that we've just created. So for that, we're going to insert it via a keyboard insertion, and we can see there that we've got our table element, but we've also got our table and our style. So there's the one that I've just created, the one with the 5-column with reference. So I can then select that. It automatically loads my table editor window. And you can see here that it has predefined all of the information. If we'd have adjusted the column widths as well, that information would have come through as well. So we can then have this standardized table formats already predefined inside the template environment. And from there, what can happen is that the authors don't need to go through and do a copy paste and then remove content. They don't need to go and try and build it manually every time. They can just insert from this table template and they're ready to go to start entering this information. This concludes the presentation on R4i Writer and the Table Designer.
When you need to deliver mission-critical information, ADG's software, training and professional services will assist you to deliver on time, every time. Aerospace, defence, legal or engineering, your requirements are as unique as your organisation. We are smart content. We are ADG.